right, welcome back to Berrien Birding. I am Josh,
Matt,
and today we're going to talk about a specific type of duck that we find here in southern Michigan, and they're called mergansers. And so there's a couple different types, and we're going to go through how to identify kind of males and female types of the most common two varieties, which are this one, the common
go
merganser,
figure, the common merg.
the common merg, and one we'll talk about a little bit later, the red-breasted merganser, which can be a little tricky, but there are some differences that we'll go over. So this one, like we mentioned, common merganser. So first of all, habitat-wise, these guys tend to be more, in my experience, in moving water, in more. They're not as they're not on the big lakes as much as the red-breasted mergansers.
Yeah, certainly the
Um,
the inland lakes. I don't know if they necessarily need moving water, but yeah, the smaller inland lakes that the red-breasted mergs are like, nah, it's just too small for me. I can see trees, so no. I want a horizon of blue water, is what a red-breasted merganser says. And common mergansers are this pretty pink blush. Those are more inland birds. We get fewer of them on the big lakes, but when you're checking your local inland ponds and lakes, common merg is frequently the dominant species.
yep, absolutely. So a couple of things with common merganser, and this is a female. And these are the ones that I find can get a little tricky with comparing to the red-breasted merganser. But the big thing that stands out to me, a couple things stand out. The bill shape, with common merganser, it's going to be a thicker, more stout bill, um, and red-breasted merganser is going to have a thinner bill. When you look at another thing you look at is the chin patch. Right here, you can see it in the plumage, right underneath the female's bill. You'll see a white chin patch, which I found is a pretty reliable field mark.
It stands out. Even in
Yeah.
flight, that stands out. And I'm going to be honest, I had never really thought about the bills before. When you say it, it's like, yeah, that actually is kind of a thicker bill. But typically, what I'm looking at is that white chin patch. And the other thing for common merg is the way that this brown just stops on the head. That it is just sharp cutting off like you colored it with a paintbrush or a magic marker. There's nothing subtle there. This is my art of taking a crayon and just blocking in a color. This is not my daughter's fine watercolor that blends photographs or blends watercolor. This is red. This is gray. No two ways around it. And one other thing to note is that these common mergs, a lot of times people think of the crest and how wispy the crest is. Female common mergs actually can have a bigger crest than red-breasted mergs. Now we shift to red-breasted merg, and you can see how the brown just kind of transitions into the gray in the neck. There's a little bit of pale in the face, but there's none of that white patch. There's
Yep.
none of that white chin that the female common mergs have, and you can tell that she has a lot less wisps and crown patch than actually does the common.
Definitely, yeah. And this, yeah, to me, this bill is a little bit thinner, a little bit longer, and almost some of them almost appear to be upturned, which I don't tend to see that on common.
Yeah, it may be that it kind of tapers a lot more from kind of a thicker bill base, and then kind of this one has a little bit more of the. I'm not gonna say bad hair day. That may just be me being biased against things that actually have something in the top there. But let's say crazy hair day. This one
Yeah.
has a little more than the last one did. But yeah, the bill does taper down a little more. Kind of gives you that greater yellow legs kind of gestalt rather than a
Hmm.
thick, solid kind of willet kind of shape of a bill like the common mergs I had. And here's male red-breasted merganser. You can tell that. I mean, he's got this big red breast. I mean, not much subtle about that. None of the tons of white and pink that the common merg had. You can see why the duck hunters call these guys sawbills. That you can
Hmm.
see the little serrations on the side of the bill that they use. These guys eat live fish. These things are diving down and catching. I saw one catch like a 7, 8 inch goby, one that was, I mean, it was longer than its bill and head combined, and then another one went tearing after it, trying to steal its goby. And sadly, I was too slow on the draw to photograph all of that. But red-breasted merganser is a good kind of baseline species to know well if you're looking along the Great Lakes. And common merg is a great one to know well when you're checking your inland lakes in another month as the waterbird migration starts kicking in.
Absolutely. And red-breasted merganser is one of the most prominent species on the Great Lakes right now for us, right, Matt? I mean,
Yeah,
this
certainly
bird,
well out there. There's a lot of them. Now, there may be even be more long-tailed ducks if you go far enough
yeah,
out, but that's a subject for another video. But certainly we'll talk again in the fall about how to identify these things in flight, since red-breasted merganser turns into one of the dominant flyby species if you're lake watching in the fall.
awesome.
That's all we have for this week. Hopefully this has been entertaining and help you identify some mergansers.
All right, like, comment, subscribe.